Carlin one more time.
All right.
I am going to just say that I would bet that I am the only person in this building this evening that has actually milked cows in John Carlin's barn in Smolin, Kansas. Has anybody else ever done that?
All right.
Good thing I didn't bet my farm or something. I would have lost right here. Yeah. You know, it's wonderful to be here this evening, and it really brings back a flood of warm memories. It was 52 years ago this summer that I was knocking on doors here in Topeka, in downtown Topeka. I was 23 years old, so you can do the math and figure out how old I am now. But I'll never forget that summer for a bunch of reasons. But one reason, I'll share quick two things that happened. One was the lunch that I had, and the people that are over 50 may remember this, okay? But I had a lunch with a guy by the name of Bob Brock at the Caravan Club out on Pontoon. Remember the Caravan Club? And Bob Brock, God rest his soul, was a dear friend and an incredibly successful businessman here in Topeka. And more importantly, he was incredibly generous. I mean, he supported every progressive good cause of the day. And anyway, I called up Bob, and I jacked up the courage to call out to him and say, "Can I have lunch with you, Mr. Brock?" Because I was told that he could be very helpful. So I called him up, and it was like 11:30 in the morning. I'd just gotten out of class out at Washburn. And he said, "What are you doing today?" He said, "Meet me at the Caravan at noon." We went to the Caravan, and I told Bob Brock how I was going to win this legislative seat. And he wrote out a check for $500 to me, and that was a lot of money in 1972 for a legislative race. And I walked out of that lunch that day thinking I was 10 feet tall. You know, I was ready to conquer the 53rd district, I tell you. Anyway, I have wonderful memories of Bob Brock. And then another call that I got was from Bob Docking. One day I was 7 o'clock in the morning, and Governor Docking called me, and he said, "I understand you're running a great race out there in the 53rd district." And he said, "What can I do to help?" Anyway, and I told him exactly what I needed. I was out of money, and I needed to, and he said, "Well, I can help you with that." Patrick, I'm telling this story because when you get to be my age and John's age, you know, he is a few years older than I am, but he was born on August the 3rd. I was born on August the 4th. Okay? And that was the same day Barack Obama was born, by the way. The bad news about August the 4th, it was also the day that World War I started. Anyway, where was I going with this? Patrick?
It doesn't matter.
What I was
You're about my age.
Yeah, that's the problem, John. But Patrick, the point I'm making is that when you get to be my age and John's age, the most important thing that we can do, I believe, for our communities and our country is what we're doing here this evening. And that is, we want to encourage the next generation, you know, to move into positions of leadership and to start leading our communities and our state. And when I look around this crowd this evening, there's so many dear friends here, and I don't want to start naming names because I get in trouble because I'll surely overlook a few, okay? But I'm here to encourage you. John's here to encourage you and to support you. I thank you all for being here this evening to support this young man as he launches his political career. So, Patrick, it's an honor to be here. But before I leave the steps, I do want to recognize Chris Mann, young man, great future, that ran for Attorney General, should be Attorney General of our state. He's got a great future, a wonderful public servant. So, give it up for Chris Mann. Two mayors here. Where's Mayor Olgas?
He had to leave.
Did he have to leave? Well, I met Mayor Wolgask in 1972 as well, so that's 52 years ago. Joan Wagnon did a great job as mayor here, and Bill Wagnon, a professor out of West Virginia.
Good job, Joan.
Joan, wonderful to see you. Joan served also as the Secretary of Revenue. Did a wonderful job over there. And Mike Lennon, I give Mike Lennon a lot of credit. He was my tutor in law school. Mike was a brilliant guy. Went on to be Secretary of Revenue, thanks to Governor Carlin, and then later served on the Corporation Commission here. Had a great career. He's a dear friend. Mike, I'm still grateful for all the tutoring you did for me in law school. And then Dave Heineman, former representative from Garden City, right? Believe it or not, Heineman and his wife, Kathy, by just happenstance, showed up in Grand Lake, Colorado when Linda and I were on our honeymoon. Can you believe that? So, David, good to see you. Thanks for the pictures. And there's one other person I want to recognize. I know I'm going to overlook some folks. Yvonne Tiger Banks. Okay. Yvonne Tiger Banks. We used to hang out together on Fillmore Street and on Tyler back in 1968 during the Kennedy days. And were you with Bobby or with you with that other guy, McCarthy? You were McCarthy. He's opening up old wounds, right? Yes. Anyway, listen, folks. Thank you again for coming this evening. Linda asked me to tell you hello. She was not feeling good. She couldn't make this trip, but she really wanted to be here this evening to support Patrick and to see all of you. But Patrick is a young man who I believe we will be able to count on to help do some very important things. And at the top of this list for me is, for goodness sakes, Kansas has got to expand Medicaid.
Yeah.
It's tragic. I don't think that I have witnessed the legislature in this state do anything more stupid than refuse to expand Medicaid. We have left maybe $5 to $7 billion in Washington that is being used to pay for health care in Connecticut, New York, California, Washington, and oh, by the way, Oklahoma, Missouri, Colorado, and Nebraska. Now help me understand what in the world we're doing here in this state. Okay, it's unbelievable to me. And most importantly, this puts at risk hospitals all over the state, the real part of this state. And without those hospitals in smaller communities, from Atchison to Atwood, okay, we are going to struggle in this state to keep the people in those small communities. And that is very important to the 19th Senate District, because we need people out there, okay? And so it's very important, and I know that Patrick's going to be committed to doing everything humanly possible, working with Governor Kelly to expand Medicaid. We can count on him also to make sure that our education system in this state, from the K through the highest university level in this state, is adequately funded. And we can count on him also to work with the governor on tax policy, to make sure that the tax changes that are made are sensible, they're fair to the low-income people in this state and the middle class. And these are the things that Patrick Schmidt can help us accomplish in the state legislature. But most important of all is for all of us to be helping young people that have the courage and the energy to step into this responsibility of running for public office. And with that regard, I know his wife Megan. Where's Megan? Behind me. Right here. Okay. Let's give Megan a round of applause too, because these campaigns are harder on the spouses than they are the candidates. You know, us candidates, we grow sort of a thick skin after a while, and we don't take things personally, and we just sort of move on. But our spouses, they absorb this stuff. So it takes a special, caring, loving spouse who is really willing to support the candidacy. So Megan, we appreciate you, okay? Patrick's mother, Ellen, is here. There's Ellen. A proud mom right over there, okay? We're going to be more proud in November, okay? When this guy's on his way to the state senate. I have said far more than I should have, but it's wonderful to see you all. Thank you all for coming to support Patrick. Patrick, the floor is yours, as you said. I yield to John Carlin. Let me just tell you one thing about John Carlin. My first memory of John Carlin in the state legislature was I was a pretty outspoken young legislator. Would you agree, John?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And John would get tired of my speeches on the floor of Kansas. It was evident, okay? And so I would jump out. Yeah, I see one of our aides back here. You don't have to nod that vigorously. So John would occasionally jump out of his seat, and as he saw me heading toward the mic, and he would jump up and he would say, "Now what are you going to say?" But anyway, he was always trying to rein me in to make sure that I didn't make a fool out of myself.
And thank God I did it. You wouldn't have had all that
Okay,
success.
I'm going to yield the floor to Governor Carlin. Okay. Thank you all for being
Good job.
here. Yeah. All right.
3.5 years ago, I was invited, I forget who extended the invitation, but to come to Panera Bread and have lunch.
Dennis McKinney.
I'm getting to that point. I cannot be but Dennis was the one who put it together. Okay. Dennis McKinney and Ryan Perry and myself went to meet a young man that was talking about running for public office and wanted to talk to us. Well, I went to the meeting, and this very young man, pretty shy, walked in, and he had another young man with him who thought that I think he was going to run the campaign. And let me cut to the chase. I left that meeting very unimpressed.